Our memory is one of those things that we don't really appreciate until we lose it. It is so vital, and because of our big, beautiful brains, you can assume it's pretty complex. So what I'd like to do for this video is focus on the 3 processes used to encode, store, and retrieve information, which conveniently are called encoding, storage, and retrieval. A very computer-like series of events that allows us to possess a memory hard drive. First up, encoding. The crucial beginning steps for getting you on your way to creating a memory. My short and sweet definition of encoding is the way we send information to our brain. But of course, it's not that simple. Within this glorious first step are 3 more different processes. Semantic encoding is the ability to understand words and their meaning. So basically, you know that dog is a type of animal and that Fido is the name of your aunt's dog. Visual encoding is the next style, which allows us to encode images. So when your Aunt Betty sends you pictures of her little Fido, you now know to think of a little white dog with a blue collar. Acoustic encoding is our last process, and it's for interpreting sound. This is for when you hear a loud and ear-piercing yapping coming from downstairs. You know that Aunt Betty and little Fido are here for a visit. So there you have it, the 3 types of encoding. But above these sub-processes is a mama and a papa process. Imagine you're eating a new flavor of ice cream. Your mind will start connecting these flavors and taking in your surroundings even though you aren't consciously aware of it. This is called automatic processing. The mama process is what your brain undergoes when you're studying for your chemistry exam. Lots of hard work and late nights just to memorize a few terms and understand some formulas. This is called effortful processing. So to sum up, when information enters the body through our taste, touch, scent, sight, or hearing, our brain converts it into a form that our existing memory can recognize, which later down the road makes it easier for storage, our own personal filing cabinet or USB stick. But again, not that simple. In order for a memory to go into storage, it has to pass through 3 stages: sensory, short-term, and long-term memory. Sensory memory is where you store short and vague events, like the smell of your coffee. These events must be brief, only about a couple of seconds long, because we are constantly being exposed to sights, sounds, smells, touches, and tastes, and we cannot absorb all of it. Also because a lot of it is useless information. For example, do you remember what you ate last Monday for dinner? As long as it wasn't something outrageous like the eyeball of a pig, which would make for a great story, then you probably won't need to remember. Short-term memory is where we start to take sensory information a tiny bit more seriously. This stage is where the sensory memory is taken and connected to an existing part of our memory. Keyword being connections. Storage at this level is still brief, only about 20 seconds long. Studies done by a Dr. George Miller showed that the average person could retain 7 pieces of information, some being 5 and some being 9, so he appropriately called the capacity 7 plus or minus 2. Our last form of storage is long-term memory, a wonderful, limitless, and vast memory stick that holds experiences from when you were a little kid all the way up to a couple seconds ago. These are all memories that are either embedded into your storage forever, or they will take a few moments or prompts to help you remember. Explicit memories are the ones you are trying to remember, like when the time comes to take your chemistry exam and you're trying to recall all of the information that you had been studying. Implicit memories use past experiences to remember things without conscious awareness. Kind of like recalling the words of a song when your friend starts to sing the first few lines. Now these 2 memory storages have their own sub-storage. We have long-term memory and the 2 types, explicit and implicit. Under explicit, we have episodic and semantic, which is personal experiences and of course knowledge of words. And then we have implicit, which consists of procedural and emotional conditioning, which is the motor muscle memory and of course our feelings and emotions. I think we are about ready to take all of that encoded and stored information out now. It's final season, you studied hard for that chemistry test, it's time for retrieval. A simple way to remember the processes of retrieval are with the 3 R's. Recall, recognize, and relearn. Recalling happens when you are retrieving without a sensory cue, like finally remembering the name of your old classmate at your high school reunion. Recognizing is retrieving already learned information using external cues, like walking past the grocery store and remembering that you need milk. Finally, we have relearning. Very simple, learning something over again. An example would be when your little brother asks you for help on his math homework. Even though it seems easy and you've already learned long division, while you are helping your brother, you too are relearning all the steps, and that's why it may take you a few tries to get it right. So we finally did it. Encoding, storage, and retrieval. The foundation of memory making. Like I said at the beginning, memory is something you don't really appreciate until you no longer have. So make sure you take good care of it because it may not be around forever.